And did Lazar investigate a classified library at Los Alamos and discover that Project Grudge was still ongoing?
I don't know whether he did or he gave the job to a friend of his, because there was 4 questions that needed answers to, and one was YY-2, what that meant, the classified library, and there was 2 other questions, and I forget what they were.
Dr. Teller responded by telephone and told me that he was no longer active, but just functioned in a consultant capacity. He gave me the name of a contact to call in Las Vegas. I made that call, and things progressed from there until I got into the program. I never got a chance to ask Dr. Teller if he remembered me from Los Alamos, so I don't know if that was a factor or not.
Why did Lazar decide to try to get employed at Area 51?
Because we gave him enough information that he thought, maybe there is something to this.
And how did Lazar get the job at Area 51? And please describe specifically the interview testing process that he went through.
He called, and I thought I was there. He says I wasn't. I thought I was there when he called Dr. Teller. And Dr. Teller said, Bob, do you want to work in Livermore with me or out there in Las Vegas? And Bob said, I want to work at Area 51. And Dr. Teller said, let me see what I can do. And so the next phone call, he was given a number to call, and they asked him out for an interview. And he got 3 interviews, and at the end of every interview he'd come over and he'd say, I aced it. And on the second interview, he said, guess what their first question was? And I said, what? He said, what do you know about John Lear and what's your relation with him? What's your relationship with him?
So they already knew you were connected to each other.
Yeah. So he said, I believe that John Lear sticks his nose into places where it doesn't belong, but what I didn't tell him was that I also like to stick my nose in places where it doesn't belong.
Do you still point it in places it doesn't belong, or has age mellowed you a bit?
Age has mellowed me a bit. I mean, tracking down this moon stuff is so much fun because all you have to do is sit at the computer and look at the moon.
How do you think Area 51 already knew that Lazar had a friendship with you, and why do you think that was important to them?
I don't know.
Yeah, why would that be important to them?
And if I ask you on camera if you know Bob Lazar, can you just say no?
I will sit silently.
The first night Lazar got back from S4 in Area 51, what did he talk about to you? That must have been a pretty dramatic night.
Yeah. And
did he talk about discs or aliens or?
He came, he sat here and he said, I saw a disc today. And I said, what? He said, I saw a disc today. And I said, theirs or ours? And he said, theirs. And I said, what are you doing here then? They're going to follow you here. They'll know you. You're telling me. He said, John, let me tell you something. I've seen you take so much shit over this. I wanted to tell you I was there. I touched it. I saw it. It's real.
Wow.
Lazar continues. Between December of '88 and April of '89, I worked as a senior staff physicist in what has to be the most secret project in history. My place of work was a facility in an area known as S4 on the Nellis Air Force Range in central Nevada. Area S4 is located approximately 15 miles south of the infamous Area 51 installation at Groom Lake, where the U-2 and SR-71 spy planes were developed. For the duration of my employment at S4, I was paid by the United States Navy. When I went to work, I was flown from McCarran Airport in Las Vegas to Area 51, which is a highly secure government base on the Nevada test site. From Area 51, I was bused to an even more highly secure facility located about 15 miles south of Area 51 called S4. S4 is situated at the base of the Papoose Mountains by the Papoose Dry Lake Bed. The airspace over Area 51 and S4 is highly restricted, and any pilot or aircraft that may stray into Sector R-4808 is subject to pursuit by jets scrambled for intercept or subject to outright destruction by surface-to-air missiles.
Tell me about the overflights over S4. Is that allowed by any pilot?
No.
Not even red-blue teams?